Alright guys, so decided to make a little bonus optional video for those of you that had a lot of questions on 19, 21, and 23 on the homework the other day. I did post a solution so you can see my work, but I kind of want to explain them a little more so that everyone has a good explanation. I know you can only see 19 and 21 right now. I'm going to try and show the work throughout the pages. But again, you can actually see my work on there, but I kind of want to explain them through words. This is an optional video. You don't have to watch this, but I'm doing this for people who wanted a better explanation on this material, okay? So number 19. So you had to use those, there was two theorems that were on there. There was the right triangle geometric mean, there was the geometric mean angle altitude theorem, and the geometric mean leg theorem. So what happened was, you had three things, right? The middle actually equals the square root of these two lengths multiplied by each other, the square root. We're all dealing with the square root. Remember, geometric mean is the square root of 2 multiplied. Then, these sides depend on the bottoms here. So like, this x here is dependent on 6 times, so x is going to equal the square root of 6 times the entire length, and z is going to equal whatever this length is times the entire length. But you're like, I'm missing a lot of stuff, so how do I do this? Alright, the first thing I would have done, and the first thing I did was I found y. Alright, so how did I do that? Okay, well I know if the whole length is y and this length is 6, this length here, just this length, so up to the 6, is going to be 14, or y minus 6. Again, y, because let's say this is like the whole length is 14, right? Well, 14 minus 6 will give me the rest of this length. So that length there, that's very tricky, is actually y minus 6. There is a measure there. You can actually figure it out. So once you figure that out, you know the middle, right? And you know the middle equals the square root of this length times this length, okay? So to find y, I would have done 17 equals the square root of 6 times y minus 6. Okay? Now the first thing I would do is get rid of the square root. The way I do that is I just square both sides. That gets rid of the square root. Any square root radical times itself equals whatever's under the radical. So I would do 17 squared and get 289. And then here I would just end up with exactly what was under the radical, because I'm squaring it. When I square it, I end up with that. So I would get 6 times y minus 6. Alright, then what I would do is I would distribute the 6 out. So I would get 289, so I'm solving for y now, equals 6y minus 36. Then I would add the 36 over, and I would get 325 equals 6y, and then I would just divide by 6. So I would get y equals approximately, approximate 54.2. So the entire length here, I don't need the small length right now, but I can find it if I want. But the entire length, y, is approximately 54.2. You can round it. So maybe some of you got a little bit different answers, depending on how you round it. But I would just do 54.2, round it to the nearest tenth, keep it uniform. Alright, so once I find y, alright, now we can find x, right? So x, the sides here, so the side here is just going to be equal to the square root of the little side that's on the same side as it, so 6, times the entire length of the bottom, 54.2. So x is going to equal, what's that? The square root of 325.2. So x is going to approximately equal, it's actually going to approximately equal 18, or 18.0. So that's how you get x. So now I have y, I have x. The only thing I'm missing is z. Now z, I'm also going to need the length of this little side, which is y minus 6. So all I'm going to do is, to find this length, I'm just going to do 54.2 minus 6. And when I do that, I kind of write this sideways. But when I do 54.2 minus 6, I actually get, 48.2. So this length here, the rest of this base is 48.2. So in order to find z, just like I found x, oh look, my people are following my house. So in order to find Z, just like I found, sorry about that, guys. Optional video again, but you have that fun little tidbit in there, the phone ring. Alright, so Z is going to equal the square root of the rest of this, so 48.2. So that length, the one side with the Z, multiplied by the entire length, 54.2. So that's going to equal the square root of, it's going to be some big number, it's 2612.44. And then I would get xz, is approximately the square root of that, which is going to be some weird decimal, which is going to be 51.1. So that's how you did number 19, okay guys? Just kind of like a little more of an explanation. I'm still going to go through the other two, but that's my explanation on 19. Again, this is an optional video, but I want to do this for people who are a little bit confused. And you can see my work. I have it posted, but I kind of wanted to go through it and explain it. So that's number 19. So again, don't feel like you have to write this down. You can follow through in my work. Alright? Alright, so then 21, right? So 21, let's go through that. So, okay, so now, again, you're missing a part of the base. Now you're missing the middle, and you're missing one of the sides. But you do have one of the sides. Alright, well, first off, I can find this little base. This little base, just like over here, it was y minus 6. I have the entire length. I know this is y, so this length is going to be 14 minus y. Alright, but I can't find anything with two unknowns. So the first thing I'm going to do is find y. How am I going to do that? How I'm going to do that is, I know that this is equal to, so 5 is equal to the square root of the entire length times whatever this length is, which is y for now. Alright, that's the only one I only have one unknown in, right? I know this length, I know the entire length multiplied by this base that the 5 is on is equal, that's how it works, that's by the theorem. So to do this, I would do 25 is equal to 14y, so I'm just going to square both sides to get rid of that radical. Alright, so then once I do that, I just divide 25 by 14 and I would get y is about 1.8. I know it doesn't seem like that, but this is, so for this is approximately 1.8. Alright, which means the other side of the length, if you just want to do that really quick, is 12.2. Alright? So 14 minus 1.8 would be 12.2. That's how I find out. Alright, so I need to find that anyway. So to get x, alright, I know that the middle length is just equal to the square root of the two little bases multiplied, 1.8 times 12.2. Sorry about that, guys. So if I do that, right, I would get, sorry, I lost my place. X equals 21, the square root of 21.46, which would then be approximately 4.7. Alright, so X is 4.7. Alright, now Z is going to be easy because I have all my information. So Z is going to be equal to the square root of the little base on that side, 12.2, times the entire length of the bottom, which is 14. Z would then be equal to that square root, which would, I don't need to write it out, you guys can see it, but the square root would be 13.1. So that would be X, Y, and Z. So you have to find them in the right order depending on the information that you have left. Alright, guys? And now finally you had 23. I think 23 wasn't too bad, but again, you were maybe missing different stuff, you got a little confused. And again, I understand, so that's why I took this time to make this extra video, bonus video, for you guys to go through if you wanted to. Again, you don't have to watch this, it's not required. You know, I'm not expecting you to spend all your time on math today, but again, if you were confused and you want to go through this or like go through it later, you have this available to you. Alright, so then now number 23, okay? So, the first thing I'm actually going to do is I don't know the entire length. Okay, but I do know the entire length. The entire length, this entire length here, we know is going to be z plus 4. So whatever z is, z plus 4 is going to be the entire length. All right, well, how am I going to find out all this stuff, right? Well, here's what I'm going to do. First off, I know that 12, the one side, is going to be equal to the square root of 4, the little base that it's on, times the entire length. Well, the entire length is z plus 4. Alright? Then I'm going to square both sides to get rid of that square root. Okay, I want to get rid of that square root. So when I do that, I'm going to get 144 is equal to 4 times z plus 4. Alright, just whatever's under the square root. So this you're going to square that number. When you have something under the square root, when you square it, it's going to be whatever's under the square root. Now I want to distribute the 4, right? So I'm going to get 144 equals 4z plus 16. Alright? Then I'm just going to subtract 16, so I'm going to get 128 equals 4z. So I'm going to get z equals actually 32, a whole number. Wow, I haven't got a whole number in a while. So 32, meaning the entire length is going to be 32 plus 4, which is 36. So the entire length here is 36 now, 32 plus 4. Alright, so that's z. Alright, now once we find that, I think everything else is pretty easy. So y, the middle, is always going to be equal to the square root of 32 times 4, just the two smaller bases multiplied. The middle line is always going to be equal to that. So that's going to be the square root of 128, which is going to be approximately 11.3. And then finally, hopefully you guys got the pattern right now. So I have 32, I have the full length 36, I'm missing x. X is going to be equal to the square root of the smaller length that x is on, that's on x's side, so 32 multiplied by the entire length, 36. It's going to be equal to the square root of 1152, which is going to be approximately 33.9. So there's your answers. Again, all this work you actually have in front of you, I'm just doing on the board so I can explain it while I'm going through it. Hopefully this whole video helped you guys, whoever did understand it better. If you have any more questions about this, of course, before the next quiz, please let me know. I'll let you know when that is. Don't stress about that right now. Let's sure about getting this content down. So again, I hope you guys have a fabulous Friday, or whatever day you watch this, and hopefully this video helps people who are confused.